Lesbian detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Lesbian detective. Lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you, Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to a new week and a new episode. It is 4th of July, and we're not like eating regular barbecue, like what people would normally.
Where do we fit in the normal box?
I mean, I'm normal. Don't do me.
No, you're not.
Wow. Okay, never mind then. But we are doing like Korean barbecue a little bit. We're doing like, what is it?
Bulgogi, fried rice, banana pudding,
potato salad. It's a lot of different foods.
pasta salad.
Oh, pasta salad. There's a lot of food that doesn't go together. But my friend is pregnant and we're doing like her gender reveal that same day. So it's like most of the menu is stuff that she's craving. And I know as a pregnant woman, when you're craving something, you need it right then and there. So I'm like, girl, if you want to bring these weird items sometimes, bring them. I'm going to eat them right with you, okay? It was like she wanted a tuna salad, something. I was like, girl, now you lost me. I'm there for you on some of the menu, but no, I'm not into tuna like that. But guys, let me tell you a secret about this case. It is another LGBT. And you're like, Sierra, did we just finish Pride Month? Listen, Pride Month is every month, okay? I wanted to do this case last month, but I could not figure out if he was gay or not. It was like some outlets saying he was, some said he wasn't, but I listened to a podcast that his mom did, and she did confirm that he was gay. So I was like, okay, now I have to do it because I really want this case to get out. And it's a heartbreaking case. And this case remind me of a case that happened earlier not even this year, like in early 2000s, around COVID time. So guys, this case right here is very heartbreaking. Now, you know I gotta say my favorite line. Now let's get into the episode. There are certain phone calls that never leave you. For one mother in Maryland, it was the call she received on Mother's Day in 1995. Her 19-year-old son sounded terrified. He was crying. He said he was in California and he wanted to come home. But then something changed. His voice became shaken, almost as if someone had walked into the room. According to his mother, she heard a commotion, then a scream, and then the line went dead. That was the last time anyone in his family ever heard from him. For nearly 30 years, his disappearance remained a mystery. A young man simply vanished after embarking on a cross-country road trip. But as the years passed, whispers of an abusive relationship, a hidden body, and a shocking confession would turn this missing person case into something much darker. Because, according to one witness, he didn't disappear. He was murdered, and someone may have gotten away with it. This is the case of Donald Lee Izzett Jr. Before Donnie Izzett Jr. became a missing person case, he was just a kid from Weston, Maryland with big dreams. Donnie was born on November 5th, 1975 in Kentucky to Deborah and Donald. Not long after he was born, his mother moved him to Maryland, where he spent most of his childhood. From an early age, it was clear that Donnie was bright. He loved reading and was naturally curious about the world around him. Family and friends remember him as thoughtful and kind and intelligent. He was the kind of kid who was always seen to have a book and could strike up a conversation with just anyone. As he got older, that curiosity turned into ambition. At Fort Hill High School, Donnie excelled academically and graduated near the top of his class in 1993. The people who knew him believed he had a promising future ahead of him. He wasn't someone people worried about. He had goals, he had dreams, and he wanted to experience more of the world than the small town he grew up in. After graduation, Donnie enlisted in the Army, hoping to build a future for himself. But being away from his family was difficult. And while serving, he admitted that he was gay during the era of the military don't ask, don't tell policy. As a result, he was discharged in March of 1994. For a 19-year-old still trying to figure out who he was, it couldn't have been easy. But Donnie didn't let that setback define him. He returned to Maryland and enrolled in Forestburg State University, where he studied journalism. He loved writing and seemed to find his footing again. Then in the spring of 1995, after finishing his freshman year, Donnie decided to leave school and travel. At 19 years old, he was searching for adventure, independence, and maybe even a fresh start. No one in his family could have ever imagined that this trip would become the beginning of a mystery that would last for decades. Because within a matter of weeks, Donnie would make a terrifying phone call to his mother. Somewhere during this time, Donnie became involved with an older man named George, who went by Shane. Shane was 8 years older than Donnie. To some people, the relationship seemed exciting, adventurous. The two traveled together and spent time in Florida, Washington, and California. But behind the scenes, things may not have been as perfect as they appear. Several friends later told investigators that the relationship was trouble. One friend claimed Shane could be abusive and controlling towards Donnie. Another said that the couple had a pattern of arguing, separating, and then getting back together. It's hard to explain what was happening between the two during their final weeks because so much of the timeline comes from secondhand accounts and memories shared years later. What we do know is that Donnie remained in contact with his mother. On May 7, 1995, he visited his mother in Maryland. Nothing about the visit suggested it would be the last time she would ever see her son. A week later, on Mother's Day, May 14th, the phone rang. It was Donnie. And from the moment his mother heard his voice, she knew something was wrong. He was crying, not just upset or homesick. He sounded terrified. Donnie told her he was in St. Monica, California, and that he wanted to come home. He needed money, and he asked if she could send him some. Then he said something that would haunt his mother for the rest of her life. He told her he would call back and let her know where to wire the money. But according to his mother, his tone suddenly changed. He sounded nervous, almost as if someone had entered the room or was standing nearby. The conversation became rushed. Then she heard a commotion. She later described hearing what sounded like a struggle and then a scream. The line went dead. At first, she probably expected the phone to ring again. Maybe the call had been disconnected. Maybe Donnie had dropped the phone. Maybe there was some explanation, but the phone never rang. Donnie never called back. And despite desperately waiting for another call, his mother never heard her son's voice again. But that brief and terrified conversation will be the last confirmed contact between Donnie and his family, and the mystery of what happened to him was only just beginning. After that Mother's Day phone call, everything about Donnie's life became difficult to piece together. Investigators would eventually discover that in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Donnie had been all over the country. It almost seemed impossible to track. There were reports of him being in Florida, then California, then Mississippi, and somehow Arizona. The timeline is so confusing that even today, nearly 30 years later, investigators can't say with complete certainty where Donnie spent his final days. One of the biggest questions in this case is simply, was Donnie trying to get home, or was he trying to get away from someone? Friends would later tell investigators that Donnie and Shane's relationship had become unstable. One friend said Donnie had moved to Florida because of problems with Shane. Another claimed the two had gotten back together but continued to fight. Then there was another strange lead. A friend later told police that Donnie had called him from Mississippi. During that conversation, Donnie reportedly said that he and Shane were trying to move back to Florida. That call is important because it placed Donnie in Mississippi, a place that would become a central to the investigations years later. Then another witness came forward with a slightly different version of events. According to that person, Donnie and Shane had been traveling together and spotted in New Orleans. While there, the two allegedly had another argument. Shane reportedly left for Mississippi and Donnie followed sometime later. Again, it is difficult to know exactly what happened because accounts don't perfectly line up. But there's one piece of evidence that investigators know is real. For months, investigators believe the last sight of Donnie was the frightening Mother's Day phone call he made to his mother. Then they discovered something unexpected. On May the 22nd, 1995, Donnie had been pulled over in Buckeye, Arizona. He wasn't driving his own car. He was driving a vehicle that belonged to Shane. The officer issued him a speeding ticket and ordered him to appear in court on June the 27th. He never showed up. At the time, no one in Donnie's family knew this traffic stop had even happened. But the ticket will later become one of the most important pieces of evidence in the case because it proves something investigators hadn't known before. After that Mother's Day phone call, Donnie was still alive, at least for a little while later. Then months later, another piece of the puzzle appeared. Donnie's mother, Deborah, received a letter in the mail. It was a notice about an unpaid speeding ticket in Arizona. She was stunned. She had no idea her son had even been in Arizona. Imagine opening the letter after months of searching for your child. In your hand is proof that your son was alive after your last conversation with him. For a moment, there is hope. But the letter doesn't tell you where he is. It doesn't tell you what happened to him. It only tells you that at some point after Mother's Day, Donnie was still out there somewhere. For Deborah, that speeding ticket wasn't just an overdue citation. It was a clue, a heartbreaking reminder that her son had been alive, and then he vanished all over again. And following that clue would eventually lead her to a small property in Mississippi, into a story so disturbing that it would completely change the direction of the investigation. By the summer of 1995, Donnie's mother knew something was wrong. Her son wasn't the kind of person who simply disappeared. He was close to his family, especially to her. Even while traveling across the country, he stayed in contact. So when weeks turned to months with no phone call, no letter, no sign of Donnie, she refused to believe that he just walked away. For the first time, she had a name connected to her son's disappearance, Shane. Determined to find answers, Deborah began doing something that many families of missing persons end up doing. She started investigating the case herself, and that investigation led her to Mississippi, most importantly to the property owned by Shane's family near the town of Macomb, Where she began asking questions, she led to something disturbing.
Shane's grandmother remembered seeing Donnie and Shane together at the family farmhouse in the spring of 1995. She also remembered the two of them arguing, not a minor disagreement, an argument serious enough that it stayed with her for years. For Deborah, it raised even more questions. Why were they in Mississippi? What had they been arguing about? And if Donnie had left there alive, where did he go next? At the time, there were no answers. The investigation stalled. Years passed, then more years. The case slowly became a cold case. But Donnie's mother never stopped searching. She called investigators. She followed up on tips. She pushed for new searches. She kept Donnie's name alive because she believed that somewhere, someone knew exactly what happened to her son. And eventually, someone started talking. In 2019, nearly 24 years after Donnie disappeared, the case took a dramatic turn. A man named Kyle Everett Barnes came forward. Kyle had once been Shane's friend and roommate. According to Kyle, he had been carrying a secret for decades. He told investigators that in 1995, he received a frantic call from Shane. Shane needed help. Kyle claimed that Shane flew him to New Orleans and then drove him to Mississippi. During that drive, according to Kyle, Shane confessed to something horrifying. He said he had killed Donnie. Kyle told investigators that Shane claimed he and Donnie had gone into an argument because Donnie wanted to leave him. According to Kyle's account, Shane said he shot Donnie 3 times in the back. Then he showed Kyle the body. Kyle claimed that Donnie's body was naked and stuffed inside the trunk of Shane's green Mazda Miata. Imagine hearing that. For almost a quarter of a century, there had been no explanation for what happened to Donnie. Then suddenly, someone comes forward with a story that seems to answer every question. But it also raises 100 more. Why wait 24 years? Why come forward now? And if this story is true, where was Donnie? Kyle's answer was just as disturbing. He claimed that he helped dispose of the body. According to his statement, the two men burned Donnie's remains in a fire pit on the Gwenther family property in Mississippi. He even claimed that Shane believed no one would ever be looking for Donnie. No one except his mother. And if there is one thing this case has proven, it's that he underestimated her. Because for nearly 30 years, Deborah Skelly never stopped looking for her son. After Kyle's statement, investigators suddenly had something they had never seen before. A possible crime scene. For years, authorities had searched areas around Pike County, Mississippi, based on the tips and information that had come in. Search after search turned up nothing. Nobody. No physical evidence. Nothing that could tell Donnie's family what had happened to him. But Kyle's account gave investigators a specific location to focus on. The Gunther family property near Macomb, Mississippi. And for Deborah Skelly, this was both devastating and hopeful. Devastating because the story Kyle told was horrific. Hopefully because, for the first time in decades, there was a chance she might finally get answers. In 2019, investigators and forensic team returned to the property. They searched the area where Kyle claimed Donnie's body had been buried. Then came a major development. Reports indicated the investigators discovered what were described as human-like remains at the burn site. For the first time in nearly 25 years, there was physical evidence that seemed to support the possibility that something terrible had happened there. But the discovery didn't immediately solve the case. The remains had to be analyzed. Investigators needed to determine exactly what had been found and whether it could be linked to Donnie. Additional searches were conducted in years later, including another dig in 2022, where more evidence was reportedly recovered. Still, many questions remain unanswered. Were the remains connected to Donnie? Was there enough evidence to support criminal charges? And if investigators believed a murder had occurred, why had no one been arrested? Those questions remain at the center of this case. As the criminal investigation continued, Donnie's family took another step. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Shane Gunther. The lawsuit alleged that Donnie died after a confrontation with Shane and accused him of responsibility for the young man's death. Shane denied the allegations. His attorney stated that there was no proof that Donnie had died as a result of any act committed by Shane. Eventually, the lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount. The terms of that settlement remain confidential, and it's important to note that a civil settlement is not an admission of guilt. But for many people following the case, the settlement raised even more questions. If Donnie simply disappeared on his own, why settle? If the allegations were completely untrue, why not fight the case all the way through court? Those are the questions that only the people involved know the answers to. Nearly 30 years have passed since 19-year-old Donnie called his mother and said he wanted to come home. Nearly 30 years since that terrifying Mother's Day phone call. Nearly 30 years since anyone can say with certainty that they heard his voice. During all that time, one person has never stopped searching: his mother. She has spent decades making phone calls, following leads, pushing investigators, and refusing to let her son's case be forgotten. Because, to her, Donnie isn't just a missing person, he's her child. The little boy who loved books, the bright student who graduated near the top of his class, the young man who had dreams of becoming a journalist, the son who called home when he was scared because he trusted that his mother would help him. Today, Donnie, Izzett Jr., remains officially missing. No one has been criminally charged in connection with his disappearance. Authorities continue to investigate, and despite the shocking allegations and the years that have passed, one thing remains painfully clear. Donnie never came home, and until someone tells the whole truth about what happened in the spring of 1995, his family is still waiting for the answers they have spent nearly 3 decades searching for. Because somewhere between Maryland, California, Arizona, and Mississippi, a 19-year-old young man disappeared. And the mystery of what happened to Donnie, Izzett Jr. remains unsolved. Before we close this case, let's take a moment to remember the victim. Donnie, Izzett Jr. wasn't just a name in a missing persons file or a timeline of travel across the country. He was a son, a student, and a young man who was only 19 years old when he disappeared. Donnie was born on November the 5th, 1975. He grew up in Western Maryland after his family relocated there. And from a young age, he stood out for his intelligence and curiosity. He loved reading and had a real passion for learning. Teachers and family members remembered him as bright, thoughtful, and someone who genuinely cared about the world around him. By the time he graduated from Fort Hill High School in 1993, he was near the top of his class. He had a real academic promise and dreams of becoming a journalist. Writing wasn't just something he enjoyed, it was something he was good at. Like many young people trying to find their place in the world, Donnie's path wasn't perfectly straight. He enlisted in the military after high school, first in the Army and later in the Air Force, during a difficult time under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. He was discharged after coming out as gay. Even after that setback, he didn't stop moving forward. He returned home, enrolled at Frostburg State University, and continued studying journalism. He was still figuring life out, but building towards a future, still only at the very beginning of adulthood. In the spring of 1995, Donnie made a decision to leave college and travel. It was the kind of choice many 19-year-olds make when they're searching for independence and experience. But within weeks, something went wrong. He made a frightening phone call to his mother, asking for help, sounding scared and desperate. After that call, Donnie was never heard from again. Nearly 30 years later, his disappearance remains unsolved. There are theories, allegations, and conflicting accounts, but no final answers and no confirmed closure. What remains certain is this: Donnie was a real person with a real life, a family who loved him, and a future that was never allowed to unfold. And before we move on, he deserves to be remembered as more than a case number. He deserves to be remembered as Donald Lee Izzett Jr. This is the case of Donald Lee Izzett. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories!
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's begin detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Research and do your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's begin detectives.
And I know I always say me or you, but I want to go first.
Good.
It's strange to me that they went to where Cal said the body was like at. Like they found evidence that a body was burnt there, and they found like evidence that some like it was bones or stuff like that. But you telling me that we don't have proof it is Donnie? Like that's what I'm confused at. Like we don't have proof that it's him. And like I always think about what his grandma said. His grandma like, yeah, they was here in Mississippi. They got into a big argument, and they left, and they left. But I feel like he died that day. That conversation, he died that day. Whatever happened, he died, and I feel like the grandmama, she knew what happened. She knew. Because you heard the arguments, that mean you had to hear the gunshot. And to me, I feel like Donnie was fed up. He was tired. He was tired of Shane. He was like, you know what? I'm done. And for him to shoot him in his back, that means Donnie was walking away. He was leaving. And Shane did not want that. And to me, I feel like Shane's family might got pulled in Mississippi. Because you tell me you found evidence. Like, this was 24 years later when they found the evidence. You tell me you found evidence, Mike, like, on the family land. Body, it's like, it's weird to me. Like, I don't know. Like, something seems so fishy that I can't. Like, the police never said, like, what they found on their land. They're like, oh, yeah, we found evidence. We saw where the body might be at. But nothing. And then what happened to Cal? Like, we're not going to put Cal in jail because Cal, he should be placed in jail too, because even though like he didn't commit the murder, he helped cover up the murder, and that's still a crime. So for him to say, hey, like, yeah, this is what happened. This is where the body at. Blah, blah, blah. They found evidence, all that stuff. Why is Shane still around?
Usually the person that speaks gets some type of immunity or lesser sentence. I just don't know how Shane is still walking freely.
Same.
Clearly, Kyle said that he did it because he was leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he managed to weasel his way out.
Right.
But it could be because he was gay. It was back in 1995.
You found evidence that the body was burnt there. So, I mean, you have stuff. But I wonder, like, they never said, hey, it was Donnie body. They never said, hey, it was Donald. They never came out and said that. So that's what I'm confused about, because you found clues. 24 years later, you found clues that this body was burnt here and evidence that, like, a body was here. How we don't have, like, I don't know. It's just weird.
But it also kind of checks out because Donnie called his mom saying that he wanted to leave. He needed some money. And Kyle said that Shane basically unalived him because he wanted to leave him. Like, that checks out. But, I mean, it could be true that he had his family, Shane's family, had some type of pull, because how do you bury all of this? And it's pretty certain that Shane was the one that committed the murder. And there was already signs of abuse, like the grandma witnessed it, a lot of fights. And I feel like Donnie was fed up and was finally like, okay, like, you're going to threaten me, but I don't really care. Like, it's probably worse to be with you than, and he took that chance.
Yeah, but I wonder how he got to Mississippi. So to me, okay, he called his mother on May the 14th in California, right? He got the speeding ticket on May the 22nd in Arizona, and his body was, we don't know when he was unalive, but his body was in Mississippi. So it's like, he was alive for a while, after that phone call. I just wonder how Shane convinced him to go back to his home, in Mississippi. That's the only thing. And where was Shane? Because when he was pulled over, I mean, you know what? I wonder if his mother ever saw those police records of him being pulled over. Because where was Shane? Because Donnie got pulled over, but they didn't say if nobody was in the car with him. But I wonder if somebody was in the car with him. Because I don't know, just because he was in Shane's car. Him and Shane got into a big fight, and he assumed that Donald was leaving him, and Donald had his car. Wouldn't he report it missing? Because he had that car when he picked up his friend. So it's I don't know. It's like in the case I said, it's so many pieces that's missing. So many counts of where they was at. You need a whole map. I need a whole map and a whiteboard to figure out piece by piece by piece, because it's hard. It's hard. We know who did it. We know it was Shane, but I'm just trying to figure out, why is it still unsolved, and why is it still classified as a missing person, not a murder? You see, I don't know why the police. I'm just stuck on what the police are doing, because listen to his mom doing an interview in a podcast. She's on. It was CBC podcast. It was called Someone Somewhere Out There. I forgot the name, guys. I listened to the whole thing today. Season 6. I'll put everything in the description so you guys can listen to it, because it's more detailed than my podcast. Because the mom is there telling the story and telling you everything she knows. But I'm just stuck on why the police haven't you have a witness. You have a witness that say, hey, this is what happened. Took you where the body is. You found evidence yes, somebody was burnt here, and we see evidence of body, of bones and stuff like that. But why is Shane still running around being free and living his best life, while Deborah, she can't even bury her son because she doesn't have his body. She's still searching for her son. And that's what I'm confused about. I don't get the police. I don't some cases I'm police, this one I'm just questioning why. Because it seemed so many evidence is pointing to Shane, and you got the evidence. What else do you need to take him to trial? Because I feel like Cal is a good person to have on the stand to convict him. I feel like he probably, I don't know. It's just weird. In this case, and again, I said this case remind me of somebody. It remind me of Gabby. Gabby, she was a young white girl who her and her boyfriend was traveling United States, and she was unalive, and so much media was on this case, and we did bring her body home to her family. And I'm thinking oh my God, it's kind of like this case, because she was in an abusive relationship, and that person did unalive her. It's just hard because Donald didn't have the media on his side back then. He was kicked out the army. Don't ask, don't tell policy. It's just hard. I mean, his mama called him a little nerd. Hear her say it, because her son was so smart. She be my little nerd. It's just sad that this case is just still unsolved, because it's not unsolvable. It's you can solve it, because I'm trying to figure out what else we need. You got a witness. You found where the body was, everything. What else? Because Shane's not going to say, hey, I did it. I don't believe at all Shane is going to say, hey, yeah, it was me. I don't know what the police is waiting for. I just feel like the family got pulled. That's just my that's just my thought. That's just my thought. Come at me. But guys, my wife and I both agree. It was Shane. And hopefully the police or somebody actually do their job and help Deborah bury her son and get the justice that she wants for her son. This is our episode, and this is our case. We are on all podcast platforms. We are on YouTube. We are on all social media. So please come check us out. Give us a 5-star rating, and also like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
Don't forget, everybody's a suspect
till proven innocent.
Lesbian detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it. They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the lesbian detectives.